Good grief. This is the debut feature from Dan Levy, who's the co-creator of Schitt's Creek and the owner of the greatest eyebrows since his father, Eugene Levy. Now, he wrote and directed this film as well as starring in it. He's described it as less a romantic comedy than a love story about friendship. And I think that's a very astute way of putting it. I would certainly downplay the comedy part of it. There are very funny moments in the film.
Yeah.
But it's a drama first and foremost. So Levy plays Marc, who's an illustrator married to Oliver, this fabulously successful young adult author played by Luke Evans, who wrote the Victoria Valentine series of books, and which is now being converted into a very successful movie franchise.
Starring.
Is from Booksmart, Catelyn Dever.
Yep.
Yes, who has this very funny one-scene cameo. So it opens at this Christmas party at their Notting Hill mansion. Oliver's about to depart on a book signing tour to Paris. And then after he leaves the house, minutes later, his airport taxi crashes and he dies in the accident. Then after a year of mourning and not being able to paint and illustrate anymore, Marc finds the strength to open his last Christmas card from his husband. And in that Christmas card is an admission that I'm not going to say because you're frowning at me too much about, but that alters the way in which he regards the point at which the relationship was at his husband's death, and therefore how he has to address that relationship going forward. So his brainwave to kind of get through this is to treat his two supportive BFFs, Ruth Negga's Sophie and Himesh Patel's Thomas, to a city break in Paris. And here we have a clip.
I wanted to thank you both for this year. So, I would like to take us to Paris for the weekend. On Oliver, spend his money recklessly. It's what he would be doing if he were there right now. And I can't think of a more appropriate way to mark the 1-year anniversary.
Yeah.
We all deserve some joy.
Yes. I think this is a beautiful thing. I think this is a beautiful, soulful thing you are offering us. Yes. Thank you. Where are we staying?
You actually have a place there.
What?
Since when?
Oliver got it last year. I plan on giving it up.
What does it feel like to just casually mention you're giving up a place in Paris?
Same thing. Still finding ways to give us nice things.
That is actually a very funny sequence.
I think Ruth Negga playing against type here as being the kind of wild party animal, especially if you've made, you might have seen her in Loving, for example.
Yeah, these incredibly soul-searching, somber roles.
Yes, it's
and now
so
she's just
wonderful to see her
mess.
as just being, exactly a hot mess in this and having so much fun doing it.
Yeah, goodness. And I think that clip goes to show, the humour from this film and actually the emotional impact of it arises pretty much entirely from how incredibly well it's cast. I mean, those three are all absolute dreams in a row. Celia Imrie is fantastic as Oliver's legal advisor. She has an absolutely knockout scene towards the end and some other lovely little bits and
She
pieces.
has this monologue. I did a Q&A for this, and it was like the first screening of it with Dan Levy and Himesh Patel, and Celia Imrie was in the audience and basically got a standing ovation for that because it was just one of the most moving things I think anyone had seen her do.
Yes. Oh no, goodness, the casting is so good. And Himesh Patel. I mean, if I had to pick a favourite, everyone's very good in this. He is such good value as Thomas. I mean, the thing is, I will say the film is set in this very well off and some might say irritating milieu. I mean, everyone is wealthy enough or has enough kind of wealth flying around.
It's kind of like
them.
the Richard Curtis world, isn't it?
Yeah, but Richard Curtis as it is right now. So it's like it's the equivalent of those lives now. I think people are better off than they were in Notting Hill. I mean, in this version of Notting Hill than in the Notting Hill. And their lives are that much easier. They're not necessarily running the bookshop; they're running an art gallery. Or
Yes,
like that.
yeah.
That may kind of rankle. I think if you're kind of slightly if that makes you itchy, seeing people who do not really have many real life problems, blowing up personal life stuff into this enormous thing, that may rankle slightly. But what I will say is it doesn't take any easy shortcuts with the storytelling. There's no kind of cliche resorting to cliche here or pat moves. Everything feels very honest and from the heart. It's also a film that got me thinking massively about the importance of taste in cinema and a director's ability to create this world that an audience just loves spending time in. Now, this is obviously the case with someone like Wes Anderson, Sophia Coppola as well, who we're going to talk about in Take Two again with Priscilla. She's another key one of that. Nancy Myers as well, massively so. Nancy Myers' Kitchen. Would love to be in a Nancy Myers' Kitchen.
Yes, I would.
Now, Dan Levy doesn't have such a distinctive style as that. But he does, like, through these very savvy costuming choices and great sort of location choices and interiors, I really just enjoyed spending time in this world and in these characters' lives. There's the Paris pied-à-terre that he mentioned, so the kitchen is just wonderful. And there's the way that when he's padding around Paris looking all sad and handsome in that way that Dan Levy does, like it's the trainers that he pairs with his tailored trousers. And it's odd because these sound very superficial, but they do matter enormously in cinema. And I think when we talk about something being a fun watch or an easy watch, sometimes what we're saying is, it just sort of washes over you and that's fine, and it kills a couple of hours. But sometimes it means that it just gives us these little kind of regular sources of delight, whether it's in how a very well cast player will perform a line, or whether it's in, this amazing unexpected view of Paris, or location choice or costuming choice like that, or, the bar stools that Oliver's chosen for this Paris apartment. I found Good Grief an easy watch in that way.
Yeah.
I don't want to kind of downplay it and just say, it's just something to stick on. It being a Netflix film, I think a lot of people will encounter it like that.
Yeah, it's not. It's got a lot more depth to it.
And
it's interesting you pick up on the fashion.
I don't know if there's much psychological depth in it, but I think there's certainly depth in the craftsmanship of it that I didn't necessarily expect.
I took a friend who works in the fashion industry, and she spoke to Dan Levy after, and she was like, I just love your necklines. And he was like, thank you for noticing them.
There's the sort of, the kind of heavyweight white T-shirt that he wears that's got the little nibbled bits out of it, and he pairs it really nicely with...
Is that the official term?
The little nibbled bits.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Adorable.
Why not? And I'm not saying this because, there's nothing else to look at, but the costumes are nice. That's one of the pleasurable things about the film.
But I agree, and I think he was asked to make a rom-com, and he came back with this because he was much more interested in how friends... A film about friendships, because that's what I think we're more concerned with at this age.
Yes.
Than, perhaps when we're in our 20s, when it's all about the exciting hormones and rom-com, that sort of thing. This is...
Speak for yourself.
Sorry. But that's kind of that's what he was talking about, I think.
Yes.
That's why he was so determined not to make a typical rom-com and wanted to make it so much about the trio.
Yes, agreed. I think it's very easy to talk about the film and sound like you're diminishing it, and I don't want to.
I loved it. I really loved it, and I did cry a lot, but I thought it was gorgeous. I really did. And he's so still in it, and it's so different from him in Schitt's Creek, which again, I'm like excited to see what he's going to do next.
There's a busy party. There's Emma Corrin going wild in a kind of a weird knitwear performance art thing.
Yeah,
he's just at the back looking sad and handsome.
Yes.
Good
that's
movie.
All he needs to do.
Thanks very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as we enjoyed making it. While you're here, check out all the other videos because they're cool too, aren't they?
Yeah, and if you want to keep up to date with everything Kermode and Mayo's Take, then check out our social channels.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
I mean, I would. I have done.
Excellent.